Welcome, curious minds, to another journey into the profound depths of existence. Tonight, as the universe stretches out before us, we embark on an intellectual odyssey, exploring a framework that redefines how we perceive reality, knowledge, and our place within it. Karl Popper's groundbreaking theory of the three worlds offers a lens through which we can understand not just the physical cosmos, but the emergence of consciousness in a vast realm of human culture. So, whether you're drifting off to sleep, focused on your tasks, or simply seeking a new perspective, settle in. Let the symphony of science guide you. And as always, if you find this exploration as fascinating as I do, please consider liking, sharing, and leaving your thoughts below. For millennia, humanity has grappled with the fundamental questions of existence. What is real? How do we know what we know? And where do our thoughts, our ideas, and our culture truly reside? These aren't just academic musings. They're the bedrock upon which our understanding of the universe and our place within it is built. And for much of modern history, these questions have been shaped by a subtle, yet profound, assumption that knowledge is a belief, a subjective conviction that must be rigorously justified and proven true to earn its venerable title. But what if this assumption, deeply ingrained in our intellectual tradition, was fundamentally flawed? What if our quest for certainty, for an unshakable foundation for our understanding, has led us astray? This is the revolutionary insight that Karl Popper, one of the 20th century's most influential philosophers of science, presented to the world in the late 1960s. He dared to challenge the very core of how we perceive knowledge, proposing a daring theory that would redefine our reality, the theory of Popper's three worlds. Imagine, if you will, the universe not as a singular, monolithic entity, but as a dynamic interplay of three distinct, yet interconnected, realms. It's a vision that invites us to transcend our immediate perceptions and consider the subtle forces that shape not only our physical world, but also our inner lives and the vast, evolving tapestry of human culture. At its core, Popper's theory posits the existence of World One, the material realm. This is the universe as we traditionally understand it, the galaxies stretching into the infinite dark, the swirling nebulae, the distant stars, and the planets that orbit them. It encompasses the intricate dance of subatomic particles, the forces that bind matter together, and the vast, inanimate landscapes of our own Earth. It's the realm of tangible objects, of physical states and processes that we strive to understand through the rigorous lens of the natural sciences. From the elegant equations of physics to the complex molecular structures of chemistry and the emergent wonders of biology, World One is the stage upon which the grand drama of existence unfolds. It is the realm of gravity and light, of geological shifts and cosmic explosions, a universe of pure, unadulterated physicality. But then, something truly extraordinary emerges from this material foundation. World Two. This is the mental realm, the inner landscape of our consciousness, and indeed, the consciousness of all living beings. It is the domain of our sensations, our emotions, our thoughts, our dreams, and our subconscious desires. Imagine the fleeting warmth of a summer sun on your skin, the pang of longing for a distant memory, the intricate gears of a complex thought process turning in your mind, or the instinctive fear of an animal sensing danger. These are all inhabitants of World Two. Popper argued that World Two doesn't exist independently of World One. It emerges as a product of biological evolution. The intricate neural networks of a brain, a physical structure in World One, give rise to the subjective experience of consciousness. But critically, while born from the material, World Two is not simply reducible to it. It represents a new, emergent level of reality, a distinct realm of mental states and processes that co-evolved by its interaction with the physical brains and nervous systems that brought it into being. It is the realm where raw sensory input is transformed into perception, where external stimuli are processed into internal meaning, and where the spark of individual experience truly ignites. And then, moving beyond the individual mind, we encounter World 3, the cultural realm. This is perhaps the most profound and revolutionary aspect of Popper's theory. World 3 is the realm of the products of thought, when considered as objects in their own right. It encompasses everything from the abstract elegance of scientific theories and mathematical proofs to the evocative power of works of art, the intricate structures of legal systems, and the deeply embedded traditions of our social institutions. Think of Newton's laws of motion, a symphony by Beethoven, the Magna Carta, or the very language we use to communicate. These are all denizens of World 3. Crucially, World 3 is not merely a collection of subjective ideas floating in individual minds. It is, Popper contended, an objective realm. These cultural objects, once created by human World 2 activity, take on an existence independent of their creators. They can be studied, analyzed, criticized, and built upon by others, transforming our World 2 thoughts and subsequently influencing World 1. A scientific theory, for example, might be born in the mind of an individual World 2, but once articulated and published, it becomes an objective entity in World 3, accessible to anyone. It can then be tested, debated, refined, or even refuted by countless other minds, shaping the trajectory of scientific progress and, ultimately, impacting our understanding and manipulation of World 1. Popper's theory of the three worlds is fundamentally evolutionary. He envisioned a universe that began with only World 1, the realm of physical states and processes. Over eons, as life emerged and diversified, the complexity of biological organisms gave rise to the mental life of World 2. And finally, with the advent of human consciousness and our unique capacity for language and symbolic thought, World 3, the realm of cultural objects, began to take shape. This isn't a deterministic progression, where each world is simply a predetermined outcome of the previous one. Instead, Popper argued for a creative and non-deterministic universe, one that gives rise to genuinely new levels of reality, each with its own emergent properties and profound influence on the whole. This concept stands in stark contrast to earlier philosophical paradigms that sought to reduce all reality to a single, fundamental substance, or to establish a strict hierarchy of being. Popper's vision is one of dynamic interaction, where each world influences and is influenced by the others, creating a rich and complex tapestry of existence. One of the primary motivations behind Popper's formulation of the three worlds was to defend his notion of objective knowledge against the prevailing epistemological currents of his time. For many philosophers, knowledge was synonymous with justified true belief. To truly know something, it had to be a belief held by an individual, that belief had to be true, and there had to be sufficient justification for holding it. This led to an endless pursuit of certainty, of foundational truths that could never be doubted. However, Popper, a staunch advocate for the fallibility of science, argued that this traditional view was a dead end. For him, objective did not imply true or certain. On the contrary, the value of objective knowledge, particularly in science, lies precisely in its uncertainty, its openness to criticism, and its capacity to be disproven. Scientific progress, for Popper, doesn't come from proving theories true, but from boldly proposing conjectures and then relentlessly attempting to falsify them. This constant process of critical examination, of trying to poke holes in our best ideas, is what allows us to approach truth, even if we can never definitively claim to possess it. Consider the intricate process of scientific inquiry. A brilliant mind, residing in World 2, conceives of a new theory, an explanation for a phenomenon observed in World 1. This theory, once articulated, becomes an object in World 3. It is then subjected to rigorous testing. Experiments are designed, observations are made, and data is collected from World 1. The results are then interpreted by other minds in World 2, and the theory in World 3 is either tentatively corroborated or, crucially, falsified. This entire iterative process, from the genesis of an idea to its critical evaluation, is an interaction between all three worlds. The methodology of science itself, with its rules for testing and criticism, also resides within World 3, guiding our collective journey toward a deeper understanding of reality. Popper was particularly critical of the inductivist approach, which sought to derive general laws from specific observations. While acknowledging the importance of observation in science, he insisted that its role was not to justify or verify theories, but rather to serve as a critical tool for evaluating bold conjectures. Deductive logic, not inductive reasoning, was, for Popper, the rigorous engine of scientific progress, allowing us to check the consistency of theories, compare them, and determine their falsifiability. This emphasis on objective knowledge, housed within World 3, liberated science from the burden of subjective conviction. It meant that the validity of a scientific theory didn't depend on whether an individual believed it to be true or whether it could be justified to absolute certainty. Instead, its value lay in its explanatory power, its ability to withstand rigorous criticism, and its usefulness as a tool for understanding and interacting with the world. Just as a bird's nest, a product of animal ingenuity, serves as an objective resource for its inhabitants, so too does a scientific theory, a product of human thought, serve as an objective resource for humanity, allowing us to navigate and shape our existence. The implications of Popper's three worlds are far-reaching. They offer a powerful framework for understanding not only the nature of scientific progress, but also the broader evolution of human culture and consciousness. They challenge us to think beyond simplistic dualisms and to embrace the rich, emergent complexity of reality. By recognizing the distinct yet intertwined nature of the material, mental, and cultural realms, we gain a more nuanced and profound appreciation for the intricate dance of forces that shape our universe, our minds, and our collective human journey. It is a perspective that invites us to look at the world and our place within it with fresh eyes, revealing a universe that is not only vast and mysterious, but also dynamically creative and endlessly fascinating. Having laid the groundwork with the concept of Popper's three worlds, we now delve deeper into a revolutionary idea that underpins much of this framework, the notion of objective knowledge. For many, the very word knowledge conjures images of personal understanding, deeply held beliefs, or a certain inner conviction. But Karl Popper, ever the iconoclast, challenged this deeply ingrained perspective. Imagine for a moment a scientist hunched over their laboratory bench, meticulous in their observations, precise in their calculations. What are they truly seeking? Is it a belief? A feeling of certainty? Popper would argue that they are pursuing something far grander, far more robust, objective knowledge. In the late 1960s, as the philosophical landscape was increasingly dominated by the idea that knowledge was a justified, true belief, Popper stood firm, introducing his concept of objective knowledge, particularly as it pertained to World 3. This wasn't merely a semantic distinction. It was a fundamental reorientation of how we understand the very fabric of scientific inquiry. For Popper, the objective nature of scientific theories was crucial because it allowed for what he called intersubjectivity. It allowed different minds, different observers, to engage with the same ideas, to test them, and to critique them. Now, here's where it gets truly fascinating. When Popper spoke of objective, he wasn't implying true or certain. This is a critical departure from common understanding. On the contrary, he argued that a profound value of objective knowledge lies precisely in its uncertainty, its fallibility. It's this very uncertainty that propels progress, that allows us to refine our understanding, to inch ever closer to the elusive truth through a process of bold conjectures and their criticisms. Think back to the early 20th century, a time rife with philosophical debate about how science truly worked. From Russell to Carnap, many sought to establish empirical truth as the cornerstone, attempting to use inductive principles to logically evaluate scientific laws based on observations. They believed that by accumulating enough observations, one could somehow prove or verify a theory. This was the era of inductionism, a tireless quest for certainty that ultimately proved to be a philosophical dead end. Many approaches were attempted, refined, and then, invariably, abandoned. Popper, even as early as his seminal work Logik der Forschung in 1934, firmly rejected this inductive approach. He argued that scientific knowledge, or even its falsification, could not be rigorously justified solely from observation. Instead, he posited that the true role of observations in science wasn't to provide logical justifications or to induce universal laws, but rather to serve as a critical crucible for evaluating bold conjectures. In his view, science operates under a methodology aimed at the relentless search for truth, not its absolute proof. This methodology, he explained, consists of implicit rules and conventions that guide the entire scientific process. This brings us to the core of falsificationism, the idea that a scientific theory can never be definitively proven true, but it can be proven false. This process, however, is far from straightforward. It often involves the introduction of auxiliary hypotheses, which, to justify a claimed falsification, might reject possibilities not considered in the initial conditions. Popper was keenly aware of the complexities, acknowledging that the rules governing this process could hardly be rigorous, subject as they were to methodological decisions and the inherent challenges posed by the Duum Quine thesis, which posits that it's impossible to test a scientific hypothesis in isolation, because an empirical test of the hypothesis requires one or more background assumptions. Despite these complexities, Popper insisted that rigorous logic remained an indispensable element in science. Even if it couldn't assess the empirical truth of laws in the way inductivists hoped, it was essential for other crucial aspects. As he wrote in the 1930s, the bulk of scientific activity involves using deductive logic to check the consistency of a theory, to compare different theories, to ascertain their empirical nature, that is, their falsifiability, and, most importantly, to test a theory, which is only possible when it is indeed falsifiable. He underscored that even when theories are tested against observations, deductive logic is extensively employed. For Popper, the distinction between scientific objectivity and subjective conviction was paramount. Decades later, this distinction would crystallize into his concept of scientific knowledge as objective knowledge within World 3, and he would describe the scientific activity itself as a dynamic interaction between World 2 and World 3, an interaction solely responsible for the ongoing growth of this objective knowledge. Popper's primary aim in introducing World 3 in the late 1960s was, in his own words, to provoke those he called belief philosophers, those primarily concerned with subjective beliefs and their origins. Empowered by Tarski's semantic theory of truth, which he saw as a means to describe a correspondence theory of truth, Popper drew a stark contrast between subjective or psychological theories of knowledge and his objective theory. In the latter, direct correspondence with reality serves as a regulative principle, not a tool for justification, but a clarifier of what objective knowledge truly means. During this same period, particularly after Edmund Gettier presented his now famous counterexamples to the traditional notion of knowledge as justified true belief, the philosophical focus shifted. The problem of logically validating our knowledge, often identified primarily with scientific knowledge, evolved into the analytical definition of knowledge itself. What were its essential components? Beliefs? Truth? Justification? Or something more? As philosopher Alan Musgrave succinctly put it, epistemologists interested in certainty, in justified true belief, were bound to find the rich speculations of natural science extraordinarily problematic. In the vain pursuit of certainty, epistemologists were forced to withdraw from the world of natural science. This sentiment resonated with Popper, who, even in the late 1950s, expressed the conviction that the most compelling problems in epistemology lay not in general or ordinary knowledge, which he considered too narrow, but in the realm of scientific knowledge. David Miller, a close associate of Popper, observed that for Popper, knowledge is neither justified nor necessarily believed. Furthermore, scientific knowledge, in any rigorous logical sense, is generally not true. Musgrave affirmed this, stating that Popper's theory of science and his cure for relativism rest upon his rejection of the traditional theory of knowledge as justified true belief. Popper, while appreciating the scientific value of analyzing mental states from a biological or psychological perspective, considered such endeavors largely irrelevant to his epistemology. He was particularly influenced by Bernard Bolzano's ideas on objective knowledge. The core of Popper's objective knowledge rests on the understanding that while truth, in the informal sense of corresponding with reality, acts as a regulative principle, knowledge itself is never definitively evaluated as true or false in this sense. This is because Popper accepted the arguments of Duhem and Hume, who asserted the impossibility of such definitive evaluations. Instead, knowledge is regarded as an objective resource for human beings, much like a bird's nest or a spider's web is a resource for an animal. Consequently, the question of how to reject or accept knowledge within this philosophy is not intended to receive a rigorously definitive answer. A methodology is proposed for this purpose, considered part of objective knowledge itself, but Popper acknowledged that it could hardly be entirely rigorous. The methodological rules, along with the rigorous logical content of science, belong squarely within World 3. This objective knowledge is then evaluated for its utility in its applications, primarily through critical discussions. This stands in stark contrast to the notion of belief, which to qualify as knowledge must be true and often justified. To reiterate, the three worlds, in Popper's grand scheme, reflect their temporal order of emergence, each realm blossoming from the development of its predecessors. World 1 is the physical, the material realm. World 2 is the mental, the realm of our subjective experiences. And World 3, the cultural realm, is where objective knowledge resides. Popper's theory is fundamentally evolutionary. He posited that at the very dawn of the universe, there was only World 1, a realm of pure physical states and processes. From this primal soup, World 2, the realm of mental life, gradually emerged through the long, intricate dance of biological evolution. And then, from the crucible of human World 2 activity, World 3, the realm of cultural objects and objective knowledge, emerged. Popper was a fierce advocate for a theory of emergence, a concept where each subsequent world is not predetermined by the previous ones. He argued against the idea of a deterministic universe, instead urging us to see it as creative, giving rise to genuinely new levels or realms: biological life, World 2, and World 3. In this evolutionary framework, we can understand the three worlds as containing three distinct categories of entities. World 1. This is the realm of states and processes studied by the natural sciences. It encompasses everything we seek to explain through physics and chemistry, and also the states and processes that subsequently arise with life itself, which we strive to understand through biology. It is the fundamental physical reality. World 2. This is the realm of mental states and processes. It includes our sensations, our thoughts, both conscious and unconscious. World 2 embraces all animal, as well as human, mental experience. These mental states and processes only emerge as a product of biological activity by living organisms, following the initial emergence of life within World 1. They're the products of evolutionary developments within the World 1 of animal brains and nervous systems, yet they constitute a new realm, World 2, which co-evolved through its intricate interaction with the physical World 1 of brains and nervous systems. World 3. This is the realm of the products of thought, when considered as objects in their own right. These products originate from human World 2 activity, but once they become World 3 objects, they exert a powerful rebound effect on human World 2 thought processes. Through these rebound effects, World 3 objects can, via World 2 base human action on World 1, have an indirect but profound impact on World 1 itself. In Popper's expansive view, World 3 objects encompass an enormous range of entities, from the most abstract scientific theories to the most intricate works of art, from legal systems to social institutions. Delving further into World 3, Popper drew a comparison to Plato's theory of forms or ideas, yet he also highlighted crucial differences. World 3 is not a static, unchanging Platonic realm existing independently of human beings. On the contrary, Popper's World 3 is a dynamic, evolving construct brought into existence by human minds and constantly reshaped by our collective knowledge and culture. It represents the current, ever-changing state of our understanding and our civilization. Popper makes two pivotal claims regarding the role of World 3 in the known universe. First, he argues that despite the numerous continuities and correspondences between the human and animal World 2, only humans genuinely consider their mental products as objects in their own right, in a World 3 sense. And furthermore, only humans have a unique capacity to access these World 3 objects. Second, and crucially, World 3 has no direct effect on World 1. Its influence on the physical world is always mediated through the human World 2. Consider this example. A profound theory of nuclear reactions, a quintessential World 3 object, will never, by itself, cause a nuclear reactor to be built. Yet, the very existence of a nuclear reactor is not merely the result of a purely World 1 physical process. It is the eventual product of complex interactions between specific World 3 theories, human World 2 mental activity, and the intricate World 2 and World 1 interactions between mind, brain, and body. This complex interplay ultimately leads to the World 1 human actions necessary to construct a nuclear reactor, actions made feasible only by this entire web of interactions. The interaction between World 1 and World 2 offers an alternative to Cartesian dualism, which traditionally posits a universe composed of two distinct substances, res cogitans, thinking substance, and res extensa, extended substance. Popperian cosmology rejects this essentialism, yet it maintains the common-sense view that both physical and mental states exist, and crucially, that they interact. Our thoughts, our intentions, our perceptions. These are all World 2 phenomena that undeniably influence our physical actions in World 1, and in turn, the physical world profoundly shapes our mental experiences. The interaction between World 2 and World 3 is equally fascinating. Imagine a student diligently studying a complex scientific text, a World 3 object. Through this process of learning, World 3 transforms World 2, shaping the student's understanding, expanding their mental landscape. Conversely, when a scientist publishes their research findings, their World 2 intellectual activity actively transforms World 3, adding new knowledge to the collective human heritage. Popper eloquently summarized this dynamic. It is through this interaction between ourselves and World 3 that objective knowledge grows. The entire scientific process, with its rigorous application of deductive logic, is an integral part of this interaction. Popper asserted that this intricate interplay cannot be fully understood if this fundamental interaction is ignored. Finally, we consider the interaction of World 3 and World 1. World 3 objects, though abstract, are invariably embodied in World 1. Take Shakespeare's Hamlet, a supreme World 3 object. Its intrinsic value is embodied countless times in World 1, in printed books, on digital screens, in theatrical performances. However, Popper's view is that this physical representation of a World 3 object in World 1 is not, in itself, an interaction in the truest sense. For Popper, because World 3 is a realm of abstractions, its interaction with World 1 can only ever occur through the mediation of World 2. Our minds, our consciousness, our capacity for thought and action are the essential bridges that allow the abstract ideas of World 3 to manifest and shape the concrete reality of World 1. This profound model, Popper's three worlds, invites us to look beyond the surface of our existence, to understand how the physical world, our inner mental lives, and the vast, evolving landscape of human culture are inextricably linked, each shaping and being shaped by the others in a continuous, creative, and utterly fascinating cosmic dance. From the deepest mysteries of the quantum foam to the sprawling grandeur of galactic superclusters, the universe unfolds as a ceaseless saga of emergence. Within this grand narrative, the very fabric of existence, as we perceive it, isn't a static tableau, but a dynamic, interconnected dance of matter, mind, and the intricate tapestry of culture. This profound and elegant perspective, first articulated by Karl Popper in the late 1960s, offers a compelling framework for understanding not just what exists, but how it all came to be, and how it continues to evolve. Imagine, if you will, the universe at its earliest stirrings, a realm of pure physical states and processes, a swirling maelstrom of fundamental particles and forces. This, in Popper's schema, is World One, the material realm, the very bedrock of reality. It encompasses everything that can be studied by the natural sciences, the relentless laws of physics, the intricate dance of chemistry, the geological forces that sculpt planets, and the biological mechanisms that give rise to life itself. Before any thought, before any conscious experience, there was simply World One, a cosmic crucible of potential. Then, as the eons rolled by, and the intricate symphony of World One evolved, something truly extraordinary began to emerge. Within the complex dance of biological systems, particularly in the ever more sophisticated neural networks of living organisms, a new dimension of existence flickered into being, World Two, the mental realm. This is the world of sensations and thoughts, of conscious and unconscious mental states, of animal and human experience. It's the subjective landscape of our minds, the inner theater where perceptions, emotions, and ideas take shape. World Two didn't simply appear out of nowhere. It arose as a direct product of the biological evolution within World One, particularly from the development of brains and nervous systems. But here's the crucial insight. While born from the physical, World Two isn't merely a passive reflection of it. It constitutes a genuinely new realm, co-evolving and interacting dynamically with the physical world that gave it birth. But the story doesn't end there. With the emergence of sentient beings, particularly humans, and their increasingly complex World Two mental activities, a third realm began to coalesce, World Three, the cultural realm. This is a realm of abstract objects, of the products of thought, when considered as entities in their own right. Think of scientific theories, mathematical equations, philosophical ideas, works of art, systems of law, and even institutions. These aren't merely individual thoughts residing in a World Two mind. They're externalized, formalized, and shared creations that take on a life of their own. Popper's theory is fundamentally evolutionary, a testament to the universe's inherent creativity. He firmly believed in the concept of emergence, where each world, while arising from the preceding one, is not entirely predetermined. This challenges a purely deterministic view of the cosmos, suggesting instead a universe that is constantly creative, capable of generating genuinely new levels of reality. The transition from physical matter to biological life, from biological life to mental experience, and from mental experience to the vast intricate web of culture are not merely extensions of what came before, but rather profound leaps into novel forms of existence. Consider the intricate dance of these three worlds. World One, the physical universe, provides the stage and the raw materials. World Two, the realm of our minds, perceives, interprets, and interacts with World One. And from this interaction, and from a uniquely human capacity for abstract thought and communication, World Three emerges. These cultural artifacts, these objective ideas, then have a profound rebound effect on our World 2 thought processes. For instance, a scientific theory, a World 3 object, doesn't just sit there. It reshapes how we understand World 1 and consequently influences our World 2 mental activity, leading to new inquiries, new discoveries, and even new technologies. Think about the theory of gravity. Initially, it was a World 2 thought in Isaac Newton's mind. Once articulated, formalized, and shared, it became a World 3 object. This World 3 theory then profoundly influenced countless other World 2 minds, shaping our understanding of planetary motion, enabling the design of spacecraft, and even altering our World 1 physical environment through engineering feats. This illustrates a critical point in Popper's framework. World 3 has no direct causal link to World 1. It must always be mediated by World 2. A scientific theory, no matter how profound, will never of itself build a bridge or launch a satellite. It requires the World 2 mental activity of humans to conceive, plan, and execute actions within World 1. The interaction between World 1 and World 2 is a rejection of Cartesian dualism, which posits a universe of two distinct and separate substances, mind and matter. Popper's approach, while acknowledging the distinctness of mental and physical states, emphasizes their constant and profound interaction. Our physical bodies in World 1 constantly influence our World 2 mental states, and conversely, our World 2 intentions and desires can lead to actions that reshape our World 1 environment. Even more fascinating is the dynamic interplay between World 2 and World 3. Through the process of learning, our individual World 2 minds are transformed by the assimilation of World 3 knowledge. When you read a book, watch a documentary like this one, or engage in a philosophical discussion, you're allowing World 3 objects to reshape your internal World 2 landscape. In the other direction, when scientists publish new research, artists create new works, or philosophers articulate new ideas, our World 2 activity contributes to and transforms World 3. This constant feedback loop is precisely how objective knowledge grows and evolves. Popper emphasized that the entire process of science, with its rigorous use of deductive logic and its systematic approach to testing and critiquing theories, is an integral part of this World 2 and World 3 interaction. It is through this dynamic engagement that our understanding of the universe deepens and refines. It's tempting to see a direct link between World 3 and World 1. After all, a beautifully written poem, a World 3 object, exists in many physical copies in World 1. But for Popper, this is not an interaction in the causal sense. The physical book is merely an embodiment of the abstract World 3 poem. The poem itself, as an abstract entity, only exerts influence on World 1 through the mediation of World 2, through someone reading it, being moved by it, and then acting on that inspiration in the physical world. Popper's World 3 shares some conceptual similarities with Plato's realm of forms or ideas, but with a crucial distinction. Unlike Plato's immutable, eternal forms, Popper's World 3 is human-created and dynamic. It reflects the current, ever-evolving state of our collective knowledge and culture. It is not a static, perfect realm, but a living, breathing testament to human creativity and intellectual progress. This understanding of the three worlds provides a powerful lens through which to view our place in the cosmos. We are beings born of World 1, experiencing World 2, and actively shaping World 3, which in turn reshapes us. It's a profound vision of a universe not just of matter and energy, but of meaning, ideas, and the endless pursuit of understanding. It reminds us that our thoughts, our theories, our artistic expressions are not merely fleeting subjective experiences, but contributions to an objective cultural legacy that continues to grow and transform the very nature of reality as we know it. In this grand evolutionary tapestry, we are not just observers, but active weavers, constantly adding new threads to the magnificent design of existence. And so, we arrive at the grand finale of our exploration into Popper's three worlds, a concept that, at first glance, might seem abstract, but which, upon deeper reflection, reveals itself as the very fabric of our lived experience. We've journeyed from the raw, tangible physicality of World 1, through the intricate landscape of our inner consciousness in World 2, to the towering edifice of objective thought and culture that is World 3. Now it's time to see how these worlds don't merely exist side by side, but dance in an intricate, cosmic ballet, shaping and reshaping our reality in profound and often unexpected ways. Imagine for a moment the genesis of it all. In Popper's vision, the universe began with only World 1, a primordial soup of physical states and processes. Think of the swirling gases of a nascent galaxy, the relentless pull of gravity, the slow, deliberate formation of stars and planets. This was a realm governed purely by the laws of physics and chemistry, a vast and indifferent expanse where matter and energy were the sole players. Then a miracle. From the intricate complexity of World 1, from the emergent properties of biological systems, life arose. And with life, particularly in its more complex forms, came World 2, the realm of mental states and processes. Sensations, emotions, thoughts, dreams, the entire inner universe of subjective experience. This wasn't merely a byproduct of physical brains, but a genuinely new level of existence, a world that co-evolved, interacting with and being shaped by the very physical structures that gave it birth. The nervous system, the brain, these are World 1 phenomena, but the pain you feel when you stub your toe, the joy you experience upon hearing a favorite piece of music, these are World 2. They are emergent, not predetermined, a testament to the creative, non-deterministic nature of the cosmos. And then, with the evolution of human consciousness, with our unique capacity for abstraction and symbolization, came World 3. This is the realm of cultural objects, the products of our World 2 thoughts, but viewed as entities in their own right. A scientific theory, a symphonic masterpiece, a legal code, a finely crafted tool, a philosophical treatise. These are not merely electrical impulses in a brain, nor are they simply physical objects. They are abstractions, imbued with meaning and structure that transcend any individual mind. They exist, in a sense, independently of their creators, capable of being understood, critiqued, and built upon by countless others across generations. The numbering of these worlds, 1, 2, 3, is not arbitrary. It reflects this grand temporal order of emergence, each realm unfolding from the development of the one before it. But crucially, Popper insists that this emergence is not predetermined. Each new world represents a genuinely novel level of reality, a testament to the universe's inherent creativity. It's not a simple chain reaction, but a cascade of emergent properties, each contributing to an ever-richer tapestry of existence. Now, let's delve into the fascinating dance between these worlds. Consider the intricate interaction between World 1 and World 2. While Popper rejected Cartesian dualism, with its two distinct and separate substances, he wholeheartedly embraced the common-sense notion that physical and mental states both exist and, crucially, that they interact. Your brain, a marvel of World 1 biology, generates the thoughts and sensations of World 2. But your World 2 intentions, your desire to lift your arm or speak a word, directly influence the World 1 physical actions of your body. It's a constant, dynamic interplay, a feedback loop where mind influences matter and matter influences mind, creating the seamless experience of being a conscious, embodied being. The interaction between World 2 and World 3 is equally profound. Think about how World 3 transforms World 2 through the process of learning. When you pick up a textbook on quantum physics, that book, a World 3 object embodying generations of scientific thought, enters your World 2. Your mental processes engage with its concepts, and in doing so, your World 2 is literally reshaped. Your understanding expands, your cognitive structures evolve, and you see the world in a new light. Conversely, your World 2 creativity, your insights, your new theories, when published or shared, transform World 3. A scientist makes a groundbreaking discovery, articulates it in a paper, and suddenly, the body of objective knowledge in World 3 has expanded. It's through this continuous dialogue, this give and take between individual minds and the collective store of culture, that objective knowledge truly grows. Popper himself wrote, and I quote, "It is through this interaction between ourselves and World 3 that objective knowledge grows." The entire scientific process, with its bold conjectures, rigorous criticisms, and the relentless pursuit of truth, is a magnificent testament to this interaction. Perhaps the most intricate of these interactions, and certainly the one that demands the most careful consideration, is the indirect relationship between World 3 and World 1. On the surface, World 3, a world of abstractions and ideas, has no direct physical impact on World 1. A scientific theory, no matter how profound, cannot, by itself, cause a nuclear reactor to be built. But its influence is undeniably potent, even if mediated. Let's unpack this. The theory of nuclear reactions, a World 3 object, doesn't spontaneously materialize a power plant. Instead, it enters the World 2 of human minds. Scientists, engineers, politicians, all engage with this theory, understanding its implications, its potential. Their World 2 thoughts then lead to World 1 actions, the drawing of blueprints, the mining of uranium, the construction of intricate machinery. The nuclear reactor, a massive World 1 structure, is the tangible outcome, the eventual product of this complex interplay between World 3 theories, World 2 mental activity, and World 1 human actions. It's a powerful reminder that our abstract ideas, once embraced and acted upon by conscious minds, can profoundly reshape the physical world around us. This concept of World 3 is not to be confused with Plato's realm of forms, a common misconception. While Popper acknowledged certain similarities, he emphasized a crucial distinction. World 3 is not fixed, eternal, or independent of human creation. It is a dynamic, evolving construct created by human beings, reflecting the current state of our knowledge and culture. It is constantly being built, revised, and expanded upon by our collective intellectual endeavors. It's a living archive of human ingenuity and understanding. And here lies the profound beauty and revolutionary nature of Popper's vision. He argued that only humans consider their mental products as objects in their own right, in a World 3 sense, and only humans have access to these World 3 objects. This capacity for abstraction, for creating and interacting with a realm of objective thought, is what truly sets us apart. It allows us to build upon the knowledge of our ancestors, to critically examine our assumptions, and to collaboratively push the boundaries of understanding. Consider the intrinsic value of Shakespeare's Hamlet, an undeniable World 3 object. It is embodied countless times in World 1, in physical books, in theatrical performances, in digital archives. But these are merely representations. The true interaction, the one that imbues Hamlet with its power and allows it to transform us, occurs when a human mind, a World 2 entity, engages with its themes, its language, its characters. It's through this engagement that Hamlet transcends its physical embodiment and continues to shape our understanding of the human condition. Popper's 3 worlds offer us a powerful framework for understanding not just how knowledge progresses, but how reality itself is constructed through the interplay of matter, mind, and culture. It's a vision that emphasizes emergence, creativity, and the profound, transformative power of objective thought. It reminds us that we are not merely passive observers of a predetermined universe, but active participants in its ongoing creation. We are the architects of World 3, and through our World 2 engagement, we perpetually reshape World 1. This evolutionary perspective, this understanding that each world is not predetermined, but emerges with genuine novelty, paints a picture of a universe that is endlessly creative and non-deterministic. It challenges us to see ourselves not just as biological organisms, but as conscious beings capable of generating objective knowledge, shaping our environment, and, in a very real sense, participating in the cosmic dance of creation. As you drift now, letting these ideas settle, consider the intricate web of connections that bind everything together. From the subatomic particles of World 1, to the whispers of your own thoughts in World 2, to the vast, shared library of human knowledge in World 3. All of it, a magnificent, interconnected symphony, constantly evolving, constantly emerging, constantly reminding us of the wonder and complexity of our existence. As our journey through Popper's three worlds draws to a close, I hope this exploration has offered you a fresh perspective on the intricate tapestry of our reality, from the unyielding laws of the physical to the whispers of our minds and the grand edifice of human knowledge and culture. Thank you for joining me on this profound dive. If you found resonance in these ideas, please consider hitting the like button, sharing this with a fellow seeker, and subscribing for more journeys into the heart of science. What were your deepest insights tonight? And what cosmic or quantum mysteries would you like us to unravel next? Until our next shared moment beneath the stars, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep vibing with science.